if headhunting isn't the right word, I don't know. They were pretty damn physical. And were looking to make big hits on a quarterback coming back from a concussion. That was pretty damn obvious. And they came out and decided they were going to kick the crap out of the New York Giants, and that's exactly what happened in every which way. This was the game. It has everything you could possibly want in the embarrassment department. I know they've blown leads, epic proportions, multiple times. Never been seen before in the history of the NFL to blow this many 10-point leads in the fourth quarter. But those were competitive football games where the Giants were the ones for a lot of those games imposing their will and playing well and being the better team on the field only to find ways to lose. And that has its own special brand of embarrassment. But this is the game where they just got outclassed, outcoached, outmaneuvered, out everything. And it comes with all of the different things you would hope to find under embarrassment. It's got a kicker not kicking the ball. It's got your third overall pick for the second time in 3 weeks being benched for the first quarter of the game because he's late to meetings. You've got the idea that the special teams, not just the kicker, the special teams in general were just absolutely atrocious. The opening kickoff is run back and sets up the Patriots in the first drive. Then you get the punt, run back for a touchdown. You get a fumble, again, another helmet-to-helmet hit, as Gilliam's helmet is deformed as the ball is, not Gilliam, that's the punter. As the kicker, as the returner, his helmet is deformed as he's fumbling the football. You get Jaxson Dart laid out across the sidelines. We get the narrative of whether or not he's taking care of himself. You've got everything. You have got everything you could possibly want to finally feel dejected and embarrassed by this Giant team. And tell me again, and here's the other thing. It's over. It's over. It's over. It's over. I've been a proponent of at least giving a chance to Mike Kafka. Today, he proved he cannot be the head coach of this team. You are punting at the end of the first quarter, at the end of the first half. You are punting down 30-7 at the 40-yard line, or down 27-7 rather, and you give up that final field goal. Why on earth are you punting later in the game? Punting. We'll get in all the exact situations of those punts. Down 2 scores with 8 minutes left. I don't care if it's 4th and 35. You can't give them the ball back. Not if you want to win. The defense that, it was showing some things and it blitzed a little bit. And, Bullen, tell me again how it's the defensive coordinator. Tell me it's the head coach. Tell me it's the defensive coordinator. Everybody else, every Giant fan was clamoring to fire. Here's the point. The team isn't good enough. That defense invested via draft picks to a third overall pick who's supposed to be the best defensive player in the draft, who can't see the field because he doesn't know what time the meeting starts. And obviously that's going to be a talking point for the next forever, as we got a bye week coming up. You've invested how much into the defensive backfield? How much money into watching Holland get trucked and driven 8 yards back every time he tries to make a tackle? Or Adebo, who finally is able to come back from injury, and he's getting beat. Or Dexter Lawrence, who we all love, is having the worst year in a Giant uniform. This defense is getting worked. The Patriots could do whatever they want. They said it in the postgame. Tiki and Schmelk were talking about it. The Patriots were on cruise control in the second half. The idea that the Giants got back into that game because they got a touchdown in the fourth quarter is laughable. At any moment, Drake May, who is every bit the MVP candidate that they're claiming him to be. I mean, that touchdown throw, It was a thing of beauty. You could not have put it in a better spot. He was picking up blitzes. He was making quick decisions. He was extremely accurate with the football. He was able to run. He's able to avoid the sack. Again, how many times does this pass rush get to the quarterback but can't bring them home? How many times? How many times he's able to avoid the rush? They go fourth on fourth. They could have went for it on every fourth down. They were on absolute cruise control in the second half. They did whatever they wanted whenever they wanted. The game was never in doubt. There was never a moment that the Patriots weren't winning this football game. The second they fall behind 17-0, Jaxson Dart, who played well in this game, not amazing, but for his first game back from the concussion, I thought he played pretty damn well. And we'll get into, whether or not he's protecting himself good enough, and I have an opinion on that. But once it's 17-0, that game's over. And the Patriots did whatever they want, and they had fun doing it. And they had no problem. Ellis had no problem leading with his helmet, had no problem hitting up the quarterback, because we'll get to the quarterback on the sidelines. The reason, and we'll get to it, but the reason that is a talking point is because 99% of the time, quarterbacks do the same thing. They talked about it on the broadcast, how the NFL is trying to tell the quarterbacks, you can't just run around the base, you can't just run on the sideline. We can't protect you that way. You got it. You can't give me this fake slide crap. You can't give me this almost out of bounds crap. We're not going to be able to protect you. But 99 times out of 100, Ellis or whoever that player is for another team against another quarterback comes in and shoves that player out of bounds, shoves the quarterback out of bounds. Ellis leaves his feet and plants him. Now it's a clean hit. He was in bounds. I'm not saying a penalty should have been called, but you know that most of the time that is a two-handed shove out of bounds. Instead, Ellis left his feet, had no problem laying the absolute wood to a player who, even if he isn't technically running out of bounds at that moment, his speed is diminished. He's about to go out of bounds, and he decides to lay the wood. I'm not crying about it. It's a clean hit. But you know what happens in the NFL. You don't take the risk of taking that hit. You don't put that hit on quarterbacks like that. Not without being reprimanded, not without being punished. If that was Patrick Mahomes or that was Josh Allen or that was any other golden boy in the NFL, that is a penalty. It shouldn't be, but it is. But Jaxson Dart's allowed to be hit that way. And the Patriots had no problem going after him. In his first time in the pocket, he actually slides and still takes a hit. As he's sliding, no penalty. That's fine. That's fine. The Patriots are having fun. They beat them in every which way. And this is the main point of it all. I don't know how you can watch this game, watch this team, watch the coach be fired, watch the defensive coordinator be fired, and watch the same things happen. Whether it's finding ways to lose from the head coach, watching the head coach be timid and call for punts in situations that if you're trying to win a football game, you cannot punt. Watching players that this general manager drafted third overall not show up to meetings. Watching this same defense with a different attitude and trying to throw more pressure, still getting beat at every turn, down the field, over the middle. Henry having wide open catches. Like, they did whatever they wanted to. It's not about the defensive coordinator as much as Bowen sucked. It's not about that. As much as you might think Brian Daboll sucked, he wasn't the reason. This team isn't good enough. And the idea that you're going to watch this product and Joe Schoen is going to, don't even let Joe Schoen handle the bye-week press conference. It's over. It's over. As the spoiled fans in Pittsburgh are screaming, fire Mike Tomlin, please bring him here. Bring in a head coach like Mike Vrabel, who has immediately turned the New England Patriots back into a force. Immediately. You look at that team on that field, they're already a year and a half later, already after Bill Belichick leaves, they are once again the clear-cut class of the AFC East. You have got to bring in someone who knows how to win. It ain't Joe Schoen. Bring in another head coach with gravitas who can handle making sure this ownership group understands that I don't care how much he's updated the scouting department. And I don't care how intricate his computer systems are or how really well manicured his draft board is. I don't give a damn. He has not put together teams good enough to win, and we see it on a week-to-week basis, and this was the game that they got their asses kicked. This was the embarrassing game on national television that needed to happen, hopefully needed to happen, to make it clear to everybody that this all needs to go away, that everyone associated, and I was open to the idea of Mike Kafka being able to hold on to this job, considering I wasn't sure about Mike Tomlin. I feel better about it after this last week for Pittsburgh. I wasn't sure whether or not Mike McCarthy was a good fit or anybody else, and if Kafka was going to have a working relationship with this quarterback and blah, 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 blah. We went all through this. Today was the end of that. Everything needs to be cleared out. How embarrassing does it get? You've got a meme with a kicker who gets stuck in the dirt and then tells you the bottom of the ball was moving. Have you ever in your life? I watched it. Did you see the ball move to a point that you couldn't complete the kick? I mean, just the kicking department alone, just how Joe Schoen and the Giants have handled the kicking situation for this team over the last 3 years is such an embarrassment that they should be fired just for that. It is unbelievably bad. The punter sucks. The kicking situation has been a debacle, and it leads to one of the more embarrassing. The game is 17-7. You kick that field goal, it's a 10-point, it's a touchdown game. It's a touchdown game. And that was the moment. I never thought they were winning, but I knew they were losing after he literally gets his foot stuck in the ground. You've got the entire thing, the entire undertone of the game about Abdul Carter not starting on coaching decision, circulating that he's late to meetings for this. He's been benched twice in 3 weeks. I'm surprised the Giants haven't won because at least they're holding players accountable, and we all know that's the root of every problem. Every problem is, anyone who's ever lost at anything is because of accountability, because they don't hold themselves accountable. We all know that. I said it the other day. If you go back, read I'm telling you right now, the reason Goliath lost to David, he didn't hold himself accountable. The analytics of the, he didn't take into it. He was too focused on the analytics of rock throwing, and he didn't hold himself accountable, and that's why Goliath lost. But the Giants are holding players accountable and still getting their ass kicked. And then the other talking point of this game that we'll get to at 888-808-1019 is Jaxson Dart and being able to take care of himself. And that came out immediately as the teams got feisty because, as I said again, the New England Patriots came to hit people with their heads. Like, this might sound like crying. I don't care. Watch the game. They were more than comfortable hitting Giants with their helmets. That's just a fact. It happened all over the field. You got it on the tight end on the penalty that was actually called. You got it on the kick return. I wouldn't call it helmet to helmet on Jaxson Dart, but again, not a penalty, but that was an overly aggressive hit that you don't see in the NFL that much. Most of the time, that is just a push. He is literally leaving his feet. I have no problem with going after Ellis after that play. And I don't even think he should have been called for a penalty on that. Johnson shouldn't have even been called for a penalty. All he did was run up to him and put his hands on his chest. It wasn't like he threw a punch or anything. But I'm sorry. I don't care if he's in bounds or out of bounds. You just run into him. You do not leave your feet and dive at him. But let me talk about Jaxson Dart just for a second. Because I will tell you this. Watching Jaxson Dart play, I thought the first time he gets hit in the pocket, he's running around, he goes to the ground instead of taking the contact. He goes to the ground instead of taking the contact. And then, yes, he's running along the sidelines, but the difference is, and he could have went out of bounds at an earlier point. Again, I love how we're all the arbiter of that. What, should he have taken it 5 yards, 3 yards, 7 yards? When exactly should he have stepped out of bounds? I guess before he takes that big hit, fine. But I think it's just become such a talking point in a narrative that we don't recognize that that's every quarterback in the NFL does that. Every single quarterback. The difference is Ellis doesn't take that big hit. And as Tiki was talking about, and as he's talking about, that's not the kind of hit that hurts. The real issue, and I've talked about this a lot, the real issue with Jaxson Dart is that he leans into contact. He will try and take on contact for the final extra yard. He did not turn back into the linebacker. He didn't look to get the extra yard through putting his shoulder through somebody. He was running along the sidelines and took an overly aggressive hit. He got down earlier in the game. He took one play on the sidelines. Again, we are going to make way too much of this Jaxson Dart stuff. We're going to make way too much of it. He did not play reckless today. The Giants certainly didn't call a reckless game for him. He still played great. He throws the ball while he's in the air being held up by 2 defenders for a completion. He puts a touchdown in Theo Johnson's hands in the corner of the end zone. He can't catch it. So ultimately, does it matter they lost? You know my feeling on it. Everyone saw the video I put out about the Jets. No, I really don't care that the Giants didn't get their 3rd win. 2-11, 3-10. What's the difference? But I don't like being embarrassed. I don't like other teams taking advantage and feeling comfortable putting their heads through the New York Giants. I don't feel great about the idea that this defense, no matter who the defensive coordinator is, can't stop anybody. I don't love the idea that the kicking situation for the New York Giants is a national laughingstock. I don't love the idea that the 3rd overall pick, and we're going to focus more on this, obviously, the 3rd overall pick who had the nerve to ask for Lawrence Taylor's number. And when he was told no, asked for Phil Simms' number. I'm surprised it stopped there. I don't like the idea that he can't understand what time meetings are, and he needs to be punished 2 weeks in 3. The idea he wasn't on the field until they were down 17-0 because he's late to meetings for the 2nd time in 3 weeks is an embarrassment. This whole thing needs to be cleansed. I don't know how else John Mara could not see it a different way. It needs to be cleansed. Shane needs to go. Now it's for sure Kafka needs to go. Everybody needs to go. And they need to bring in a Mike Vrabel who has already turned the Patriots into the best team in the AFC and a team with May that's probably going to run the division again for the next decade because he's an excellent coach and the Giants haven't had that since Tom Coughlin. They need someone to come in here and take over. And I talked all morning long because we saw it in Pittsburgh on Sunday. Mike Tomlin is the guy. Go get him. But honestly, I would not even allow Joe Schoen to make the press conference of the usual GM press conference of the bye week. I would let him go tomorrow. This needs to end. 13th straight road loss. 7th straight loss overall. And on Monday Night Football, one team came out and decided they weren't going to lose, and the other one didn't know how to respond, and then just catastrophe after catastrophe. And another, laughable moment, overarching theme of players not showing up. Jaxson Dart doesn't take care of himself. Nothing positive comes out of this football game. Nothing. Not that they were in it, not that they were competitive, not that they played this way, not that Jaxson Dart looked good, nothing. Jaxson Dart doesn't know how to take care of himself. Your star 3rd overall pick doesn't know when to show up to meetings. Your kicking situation is the butt of every joke in the NFL. Your defense can fire any coordinator or coach it wants. It can't stop anybody. You allow teams to come there and teams to take over a game and run their heads through your face. Your special teams is atrocious. Like, that was just a public humiliation. And I'm hoping the silver lining is that it got through to John Mara and the rest of the Giants ownership, and they will recognize that this whole thing needs to be cleansed.